Alright, if I fill this out, what are you gonna help me with, bro? So from the walkway to the sidereal horizon looks impossibly vast. A landscape of plating and frames all along her flanks. Torches flicker, drones maneuver, arc lights glint, the sense of scale. The industry is both stunning and strangely unsettling. She's quite beautiful, I think. You turn to see a figure a little way down the walkway, leaning at the railing. He's thin, ragged, his work gear poorly fitting and loose. The torches of the horizons flicker in his eyes as he turns to you. Lem, he leans back from the railing, revealing a child standing beside him, staring out of the ship. And this is Mina. Hi, Mina. She stares and tucks herself behind Lem, who dutifully picks her up. She's a little slow to trust, aren't you, Mina? She buries her face in the folds of his overalls. Mina looks out from Lem's chest, a dark brown eye twinkling among the rough material. You working on her then? Gesturing to the vast ship. Or just admiring? He shifts Mina's weight to his other arm. Neither. Well, he looks thoughtfully at you. You should consider it. Isn't that right, Mina? He jostles her a bit. She's Mina and I's ticket out of this place. Our escape vector, so to speak. Ship? You haven't heard? Anyone who takes a Havage track contract on the sidereal horizon will be entered into a draw from the transit support crew. He smiles. We won't get to sleep the journey through, but a couple of decades of service will be nothing for me and Mina if it means landfall on a new planet. Decades? It's a long trip. He straightens up, stretching his back. It's a colony ship, friend. The Cellus Foundation is sending thousands of people to settle a system well outside the reach of the core worlds. It'll be a totally independent colony. No circusy, no corporations. Yeah, the Cellus Foundation, you say? Yeah, they are Havenage's client. Yeah, some wealthy project from the core system. Interested in independence and self-sufficiency and all that. They hired the whole shipyard out. Helped them rekit it and everything. Someone's else dream, I suppose, but that doesn't mean some people like me and Mina can't tag along. Mina responds by pushing his hand away. Daddy, food. Holding an exaggerated grumpy face, she glances fugitively at you as she plays with a set of dog tags that hang from Lem's neck. I'm just chatting a little, Meanie. Give Daddy a sec. He turns back to you and you suddenly notice how tired he looks. I'm not on the Havenage crew yet, but I'm working my way in. You can do it too, friend. We have to stick together. He smiles a little shakily and you wonder how long he's been working to break into the official shipyard crew. I'm working on it. He looks out at the sidereal horizon if you're trying to pull energy from those flickering torches from the vast hall. You've got to hold out, okay? You aren't quite sure if he's talking to you? That's how it works. While he stares out, Mina catches your eye curiously. You agree, Mina? She straightens up and meets your eye. Daddy loves me? She says it stubbornly, daring you to question her. Lem smiles and lifts Mina. That's it. We hold on. We are just a couple of softies, isn't that right, Mina? He sets her down, standing by his side, and she clings to his leg. Gotta go feed this one. Pats her back. Maybe see you on a shift, huh? He turns and they walk down the walkway, away from the shipyard. You see them talking, and then a moment later, Mina turns around and stops. See you, robot! Her shout echoes down the walkway, and she flashes you a parting smile before running to catch up with Lem. You catch them a little before you turn back to the impossible scale the sidereal horizon. A ticket out. So if I work on this ship for how long? Each shift, a crowd of would-be workers gather outside the shipyard, each of them clinging to a 4-digit number printed on receipt paper. These are their assignment numbers, and you are either called for a shift or you aren't. As you arrive, the crowd is restless and chatter rumbles through the lines. For those who are, like you, have graduated to the work team, shifts are guaranteed. Having just walked out of a meeting with a supervisor where you were praised for your efforts, you feel the glow of a job well done. Yet you can't help but feel empathy for those huddled as you pass, waiting for their number to come up. You keep your head down as you leave the shipyard, feeling a little guilty as you do. Hey, sleeper, wait up! Lem's voice trembles as he shouts above the rumble of the crowd, and you turn to see him pushing through. Mina crying in his arms. Lem, it's been a long time, man. Long time. Oh, good to see you, friend. He's breathing hard after shouldering through the waiting workers. You made the work team, good for you. He tries to catch his breath, stroking Mina's hair as he does. Shh, baby, give me a second here. He smiles weakly at you as he comforts her, and her cries start to fade. Out of the crowd, he sets Mina down by his side, shining streaks down both their cheeks. As he does, you see he's clenching an assignment number on a crumpled piece of paper. Are you waiting on a shift? You know what it is? Puts his hand on her shoulder and she clings to his side. Esther, who usually takes her sick. He stretches. I don't know what. A noise sounds from the entrance, a klaxon followed by a list of numbers growing brightly on a display screen. The crowd responds instantly, pushing and pulling as people try to wade to the entry checkpoint. Lem stops and turns back towards the crowd, then glances down at the crumpled paper. Oh, that's my number. Oh, shit, Mina. He starts patting the pockets on her gear and glances around. Dude, go. I'll watch her, man. He blinks a little, staring. Oh, thank you. Thank you. He crouches to Mina. You're gonna stay with our friend here, okay? We're gonna keep you safe. And he stands back up. Here, take her bag. He shoves it onto your hands. She got food. She got shit. I gotta go. He backs away into the crowd. Mina, I'll be back real soon, okay? Be good. Then Lem disappears into the rolling crowd. We're now trying to get into the shipyard before it locks down. Mina stands staring, suddenly small without Lem at her side. She fixes you with a dark-eyed stare you can't read. Hey, Mina. She holds the stare unmoving. The two parallel tear tracks still glint on her cheeks. You okay, Mina? She sniffs and looks down. You unlatch the top of the bag. You see a few metal containers fashioned from scrap components. A battered slate sits on top, blinking a low battery warning, and tucked beside it is a ragged rabbit, hand sewn. You pull the rabbit out of the bag, its long limbs waggling as you do. Mina goes to jump and grabs it, but holds herself back. She stands and hugs herself, eyes on the rabbit. What's her name? Mina turns away and looks at the entrance to the shipyard. This isn't going well. You hold the rabbit out and Mina snatches it from your hand. She hugs it tightly without looking away from you. Bun Bun, she says, staring you down ferociously despite her size. Hi, Bun Bun. You move a little closer as you speak, closing the gap. It doesn't speak. She looks at you suspiciously, but her face softens a little. She waggles Bun Bun in front of you and then walks him up your arm and onto your shoulder where he sits. She pokes your arm a couple times. Are you really a robot? I am. So cool. Mina has some more questions. Lots of questions. Questions about how you breathe or if you rust, but before long, you're talking about rabbits and what Esther, the lady who usually takes her, smells like, and whether or not fairies live in the ice heating pipes. You pass the time like this, sitting side by side on the floor of the walkway as others pass by. Sometimes talking, sometimes drawing on the slate, sometimes playing with Bun Bun the rabbit. And this is how Lem finds you. Just as both of you are starting to yawn, he's dirty and tired, but Mina leaps up his legs and into his arms as he stumbles backwards. Oh, you two get on? He asks, trying to keep Mina from climbing onto his shoulders. More than okay, man. Mina shoots you a smile from Len's arms, her suspicion gone. Well, looks like Mina can be nice. He pokes her in the ribs and she squeals in delight. Oh, thank you, friend. I mean it. He gives you a warm, wide smile. I owe you. Look. He glances around. It seems like Esther, the lady who usually watches her, is going to be out for a spell. If you ever have some time, I really appreciate you coming down to our place in the low end. He grins sheepishly. If you have time. But now I have to take this one to eat. He plays at biting Mina, and she giggles in response. See you, sleeper. He waves, and they stumble off down the corridor, drawing gazes from passing spaces as Mina's laughter echoes down the corridor in bright squeals. She's asleep, whispers Lem, creeping back out of the unit's tiny bedroom, sliding the door shut as he does. You're perched at the thin bar in the main room, the slate in front of you still glowing with Mina and her drawings from a cycle spent together. There's a ring, the only world Mina has known, with stick figures standing along its edge. The tall one is you. Drink? Asks Lem, producing a worn look bottle of Griot from under the bar, its contents glowing amber in the fluorescent light. Sure, man. Lem nods and glugs a few fingers into a couple of metal tumblers, then sits down with you at the bar. Cheers! He offers you and clink the metal containers together. You know, we actually have something to celebrate this time around. Lem gives you a sideways look. I made the assembly team on the side reel. He grins broadly. Clearly, he has been desperate to tell you all cycle. Dude, amazing! Lem holds up his drink. Could have done it without you. Keep an eye on little meanie back there. Lem shifts a little on his stool. He looks uncomfortable. How's our girl doing, sleeper? I haven't seen much of her these past cycles. She misses her father. Lem looks away. Yeah. He says to no one in particular. The silence stretches out as Lem takes a drink, his eyes fixed on the bedroom doors. You okay, man? He nods. I can't take all the credit for Mina. She isn't actually mine. He gazes into the middle distance. I pulled her off a rescue shuttle out of an Ember's moon. The colony was falling apart decades after Slim collapsed, surviving on next to nothing. Eventually, somebody tried to mark up for the eye on these decrepit old shuttles. He sloshes a drink around in his tumbler. They had no idea what they were doing. The one Mina was on decompressed halfway. Everyone spaced. The only reason she made it was someone sealed her in a weapons locker. She was ice cold when I reached her purple lips. Once I picked her up, I wouldn't let go. The medics treated her with me still clinging to her. He takes a drink, still not sure why. He reaches over and refills his cup. We weren't exactly anybody's heroes, you understand. We were private military, hired in Conway to protect their claims in the collapse. Once I got Mina, that was it. I quit. Got us dumped here. Well, you saved her, man. I'm gonna sound like an idiot now, but she saved me, man. That's the truth of it. He looks around the decaying unit, its stained plastic plating and the flickering lights. Me? I brought her to this. She was tiny, too small to know what she lost, but I can't stop thinking about it. He rubs his eye dark with tiredness. What if our number doesn't come up in the draw, Sleeper? What then? The side wheel will sail off without a thought, leaving us here. What kind of life is that for her? Dude, she'll manage, dog. Sorry, I know you don't have it any better. He looks at his cup and pushes it down the bar. Yo, this is a celebration, right? Both of us on the team now, both of us in it with a chance. Exactly. Imagine all three of us riding the side wheel horizon out of here to a new world. He looks into his glass for a moment. I think I drank this too fast. Lem stands and starts to clear the glasses into the auto wash. I need some sleep, friend. Yeah, me too, man. Alright then. He catches your shoulder as you try to leave. Yo, thank you, Sleeper. I mean it. From both of us. You pat your shoulder and you slip into the dark of the walkway with thoughts of little Mina in your mind. Your crew slowly filters out of the shipyard locker room, the bubbling chatter reducing with each group that leaves. There's excitement in the air. Cabinet has just made an announcement. The assembly teams are done. Sat on the locker room bench, you can feel the side rail out there, its hulking mass now imminently familiar to you. Over the past cycles, you have watched it grow, be assembled. You have walked through its veins and welded its bones. Now it is ready for the final stage. It will go to testing now, then enter a final process of sealing and resealing, checking and rechecking before it is deemed suitable for its generational trip. But for now, your work is done. You can't help but feel proud. A cough interrupts your thoughts. It's Lem changing out of his work gear. Mina nowhere to be seen. He smiles. She'll be ready soon. I know. It's exciting, although, if you think about it, we are all out of a job now. He quickly adds, not that I'm complaining. He comes to sit beside you on the bench. She's gotta be in her best shape when she carries you. Mina and me out of here. So confident. Lem smiles apologetically. Why not? I figured I'm due a lucky turn by now. He rubs his hand nervously. No use in wondering what if. Well, until the draw anyway. And there's a few cycles till then. Lem is right, but the odds seem unlikely anyway. How many are working in the shipyard? Hundreds? 1,000? You've certainly seen more faces than you can count pass through. And are the Celis Foundation even going to keep their promise? Out here on the eye, you get the sense that no one will hold them to it. Why else would they be building the side reel in a surrogate system? As you think, Lem watches you with a worried look. Tell me about Celis. Oh, the Foundation? I'm not sure I know much more than you. I hear they have a planet in mind for the side wheel, something temperate and habitable. I think they are run by some rich folk from the core, people interested in doing things different. Different how? Lem looks into space. Well, I guess they don't like the way the core runs things. All these surrogate systems like this one feeding resources into their silos. It's a pyramid of sorts, and we're at the bottom layer. I guess Celis wants to change that. I'd rather keep my mind on the prize, so to speak. I don't care what they are for or against, as long as they can help us get out of here. You ever been in a thunderstorm, Sleeper? A real big one? No, I haven't. Oh, shame. The sound, the smell, the rain hammering down, the whole sky stretched out and bruised, roaring and huge. The place I was born, New Pembroke, a dry old rock in a Conway system, had 2 seasons. One of them was as dry as bone, dusty, ugly. The other was one long storm, a side effect on the terraforming efforts, they said. Rain used to rattle off the roofs like bullets. It washed the dust away, turned the streets to rivers, sing us to sleep and wake us to the morning. We'd wait half a year to see it again. The best day was where the first drops fell. Some days, I wake up swearing I can hear it again. I was thinking, Mina's never seen a storm, never even felt rain. She's grown up here, the ring her only horizon, always in the dark. I want to change that for her. You will, man, you will. Of course. Almost there, man. Best get back to the little one anyway. With the shift's done, I reckon she'll be happy to have me home for a few cycles. He shoulders his gear. She ain't a few for the draw. Good luck, man. Don't need it. Lem leaves, making you the last person in the cavernous locker room. As you sit, you think about the rain, and a little hope creeps in. Is it possible? Could the sidereal really take you to a planet? A place with weather? With skies? With life? You get up quickly before you can think about it anymore. It's too soon to hope. Too dangerous. There's work to be done. The crowds have already gathered by the time you get to the shipyard, and you recognize faces among them, people you have worked alongside on the sidereal. The intervening cycles have turned their excitement to anxiety, and a few of them smile at you. Instead, the nervous energy of the crowd fills the space, creating a feedback loop of growing tension. You pick out Lem and Mina and work your way over to them, pushing through the crowd. He silently raises his eyebrow at you, his anxiety obvious, but Mina flashes you a huge smile, unaware of the tension. Woobah! She calls out, reaching to you. She gratefully accepts your hug, leaning against your chest, and Lem smiles, seemingly glad to share the weight of Mina for a moment. Hey, quite the turn it, eh? Lem glances around, pulling Mina close. I don't think patience is one of the crowd's strengths. The sound of an argument towards the back.
Out of here! Oh, come on! What?
This place seems set to explode. They'll manage him. Lem looks around nervously. I sure hope so.
This is Esther Eghart of the Celos Foundation.
And shouts,
Be quiet.
rapidly following.
I'm sorry I can't be there to meet you all, and thank you on behalf of Central Celos for the work you have done on the sidereal horizon.
Most of the crowd strains to see the Aster's face, but the small display only shows a ghastly white figure, smudged and unclear.
Century wanted me to pass on her personal thanks for your commitment to and belief in the Celos Foundation's mission. We chose the Eye for this project because we knew that we would find like-minded individuals here, especially among the ranks of the venerable Habitage Association. Unlike most of the Corps, we neither believe Elrond's Eye to be a threat or a rogue state, but instead an embryo for the formation of a new, decentralized social structure. One where each citizen might be the master of their own destiny.
A ripple of impotence runs through the crowd. They didn't come here for a sermon.
You are all pioneers, just like those core citizens from the sidereal horizon will carry in cryosleep to the planet that will become the Foundation's first frontier, Celos 1.
At the mention of the destination world, excited conversations break amongst the workers.
There, our citizens will be able to create their own innovative bottom-up economy order, aligned with the principles set by Sendri Celos herself. Freedom, resilience, and self-sustenance. This is all thanks to your tireless efforts in the Habitage Yards. As a reward for those efforts, you may know that we are offering a select group the opportunity to join the caretakers of this vision, the staff of the Sidereal Horizon, who will maintain the vessel during its multi-decade transit through interstellar space.
Lem turns to you, his eyes bright. Oh, dude, this is it.
This draw has been performed at random by the central AIs of the Foundation and is final and binding. Please note only licensed contractors of the Foundation are eligible for this draw. I know you have all been eagerly awaiting this day, and without further delay, I will now read the Celos identification numbers of those chosen for this great honor.
A murmur runs through the crowd. Celos identification numbers? Licensed contractors? You have never even heard the term mentioned. Is this something you were supposed to be assigned? You glance at Lem, but his eyes are fixed forward, wide and shimmering. All around you, people are speaking in hushed tones like a rising wave. Aster starts reading out the sequences of numbers and letters, and panic begins to set in. No one seems to know what is happening. Somewhere near the front of the crowd, someone shouts in celebration, and everyone pushes forward. Lem? Lem! You turn to see Lem still staring forward. Mina is scared now. She shouts, Daddy? Someone throws something at the entrance and it rattles against the shipyard's doors. You see for the first time Habitage security stood on either side, scared, arguing between themselves. You feel the anger rising in the crowd. Lem, dude, we gotta go, man. He doesn't move. I'm just, they might call my names. I can't. Mina tugs at his dog tags. It's not happening, man. Lem blinks rapidly and then turns to you. He opens and closes his mouth and looks down at Mina. He sees the fear in her eyes and understands. It's time to go. You lead Lem and Mina out, shoving people aside. As you do, you hear the sound of scuffles emerging at the front of the crowd, of metal canisters bouncing off the shipyard walls. You keep your head down and walk away. The sound of Aster reading out the ciphers echoing above the chaos, like some strange mantra. When you turn to Lem, there are tear tracks running down his cheeks, and Mina sniffling into his jacket. You feel the sadness is rising in you two. They screwed you. Screwed all of you. You were never even on the list. The feeling is as unpleasant as it is familiar. You stare ahead into the tunnel as the security sirens sound out, a signal for the coming violence. There's no answer when you buzz Lem's unit, but the door is open. You push the door and find Mina sitting in the middle of the floor playing with Bun Bun. Mina, where's Lem? Mina doesn't respond. She walks Bun Bun across the floor, narrating quietly to herself. You look around the unit. It's a mess. Dishes and glasses on the side. Some of Mina's clothes piled up in a corner. Mina's sitting by her bag, which is spilled out across the floor. Her drawing slate cracked and dark. You sit down beside Mina and she turns away, taking Bun Bun with her. But after a while, she turns back and you play together. She insists you both Bun Bun on a trip away, dragging the stuffed rabbit across counters and services. You just started to look at fixing Mina's cracked slate when Lem enters. Sleeper, what are you... He pauses and looks from you to Mina and back again. No, never mind. He drops a bag by the door and slumps on the couch. Dude, where were you, man? Lem ignores the questions, asking one of his own instead. What are you doing here? Mina's not supposed to let anyone in. He glances at her disapprovingly, but she shoots back her own angry look. Looks now is not a good time. Dude, I want to help, man. Help? Unless you have a side wheel ticket or two, I don't think there's much you can do here. Pinches the bridge of his nose. You understand they never even put us on that list, right? I've been all around the rim looking for work, and I've run into a few from the crew. It turns out only long-time Havage members are issued these Solaris ID numbers. They never planned to consider us. Yo, Havage said they didn't even know what they were going to use to make the draw, and who knows, maybe Solos pulled the wool over their own eyes. But what does that matter? All those hours in the yards from hand-to-mouth wage and nothing else. He slams his hand on the sofa. What, are you giving up? Lem opens his mouth to respond, but stops himself. He looks at the open door again. They're moving the side wheel up to the hub now, you know, he says without meeting your eye. That's where it'll depart from. They're bringing in a ship with all the cryosleep pioneers and transferring them there in microgravity before loading the crew. We could sneak aboard? You think they're just gonna let people on board? The security they have has to be impossible. Look, we'll be fine. We've always have been. I just need a little time. We had our heart set on this trip is all. Mina comes over and climbs onto his lap. He smiles. What if I got you on board? I miss you these past few cycles. I miss that optimism. Lem strokes Mina's hair. Look, you want to go to the hub and ask around? Be my guest. I can't get there with Mina down here, and I'm sure the side will bring in a crowd. Be careful. This kind of things always attracts scammers and thieves. Find any way aboard, you take it. You need help to get there? Ask me. But for now, me and Meanie are sticking on the eye. She looks up at you and smiles. I'll find a way for all of us. Lem smiles but doesn't say anything. You stand to leave and Mina grabs your hand, eager to give you one more smile. Then you're out, back in the walkways to the low end, already thinking of plans to make this right.
Oh, quite the achievement, isn't she? Sandra Celis must be proud.
You recognize the resonating voice of Castor immediately and turn to see him, hooded and tucked in the shadows near the viewing platform. Castor.
Oh, I see you remember our game. Good.
He looks around, but the platform is clear.
I'm afraid you have to wait for a rematch. Microgravity make travel a little difficult.
He smiles broadly. Castor walks out to stand beside you on the platform. The telltale clink of metallic boots accompanies his slow crossing. He notices you looking at them.
I don't like it up here, but I hear there was some trouble at the Havana shipyard when they announced the results of the crew lottery.
Yeah, they screwed us, man.
Oh, I know. An ugly business. Sellers are too used to the way things work in the core. Exploitation is the only logic they know.
He gestures out at the side rail.
You know why they built this monstrosity on the eye?
Control?
Oh, certainly. There's no corporation oversight out here, but that's not all.
He stares at the pristine yellow hall.
Cellos built it here because they didn't want anyone to know it exists.
He rubs his forehead.
And secrecy is something I cannot abide.
He turns to face you.
There are people being loaded onto that ship as we speak. Sleeping people locked in cryosleep, like the person that you were emulated from. There are hundreds of them, and Celis wants to send them out on a plane at the edge of the settled systems without anyone knowing where it is. But you, Sleeper, can do something about that. You are like me. You deal with data. You can read it right out of the air. With someone like you on that ship, secrecy isn't a problem. You can ping back whenever I need it, as long as you are on board. With you on the side reel and some minor modifications, you will be my eyes and ears. I will keep track of Celis' grand project through you. In short, I can get you aboard, Sleeper, but I'm gonna need you to help me.
Who are you?
I'm a concerned party. Someone who likes to know what is happening when it's happening, not afterwards.
It's not just me, though.
Oh yeah, your friend Lem? That can be arranged. It will be difficult, but not impossible. The condition is, of course, that you go too.
Castor clunks closer to the window, watching the tugs wheeling around the side reel.
It's a simple offer, and the only one that will get you on that ship. Please consider it.
He turns back, silhouetted against the ship.
But to make it happen, I need your assistance. As I said, there is a Cellus Foundation ship docked in the now empty shipyard. I need the data from its servers. This will allow me to produce the IDs necessary for your transit.
Castor looks over his glass at you.
Cellus aren't stupid though. The ship is totally isolated from the station. You need to get on board if you want access to their air-walled server. Once you have the data, meet me at your friend's unit so we can give him the good news. I notice his importance to you. And the little one. You don't extract the data before the sidereal horizon leaves the hub, then I will get the message. You have other options, but you're certainly my preferred one. But be sure you act, Sleeper. Once you take the data from the Cellus, yourself a series of events will likely be hard for you to untangle yourself from. Either way, I recommend you stop asking around up here. You're bringing a lot of attention to yourself.
Castor glances around as if to emphasize his point.
There are only a handful of cycles until departure, Sleeper. Make your decision.
With that, Castor marches back off the platform, the sound of his mag boots fading away, leaving you to contemplate the sidereal horizon and the part it may play in your future. When you arrive at Lem and Mina's units, Castor's already waiting outside, leaning beside the door.
Oh, forgive me, Sleeper, but Cellus is already buzzing with news of the breach. I was expecting you.
Okay, well, thanks for tracking me though, but I thought I got rid of that tracker. But more importantly, will this work?
Oh, don't worry. The breach cannot retrace the specific IDs I'm about to create.
Castor reaches into a pocket and produces a slick green and white hand terminal. The data, please? You hand over a drive with the data, and Castor fishes around for a converter cable to hook it up. He slots it into the terminal, and after some worrying, a set of 2 transparent films marked with the numeric sequences are produced.
2 tickets to an uncertain future. The child will go with Lem, of course.
He pockets them.
These are yours, but first,
He holds out a white cube.
your side of the deal.
What is it?
Something to help us make use of.
He passes you the square and you rest it in your palm. A small white perfect cube. Suddenly you feel a sharp pain and flinch. The cube jumps from your hand and rattles around the walkway. You look at Castor apologetically. Castor smiles.
Don't worry. It has done its job. Now it's for you to do yours.
You look down and see a tiny pinprick in the center of your palm.
Oh, nothing sinister.
Castor puts the terminal away.
This way we can keep track of you and the sidereal horizon.
Dude, I didn't agree to this.
You did, Sleeper. You have to understand that I could have done this without you knowing. This way everything is on the table, so to speak.
Castor hands you the transparent films and you see shimmering portraits of you and Lem flickering beneath the surface.
Go, give them the good news.
And he reaches across and buzzes the unit. Lem slides open the door, half dressed in his gear. Yo, Sleeper, what brings you here? Come in. He beckons you inside. You look to the side expecting to see Castor, but the wall is empty. The unit is cleaner, better organized than the last time. Lem sits at the thin bar and gestures for you to sit. Oh, I mean, it's with some of the local kids. Someone has started doing lessons with the way she seems to like it. Dude, you need to sit, bro. You sit at the bar. What's up, Sleeper? I have some news. Out with it then. I have Cellus IDs for us. You have? How? He blinks rapidly as if to wipe you from his vision. Does that mean? Yes. We are leaving. Lem stands up and paces around the unit. Well, we have to pack. Holy shit, we have to pack. He turns back to you, smiling. How the hell did you swing this? A friend helped. Well, thank you, friend. You show him the ID films and he whistles at the portraits. Oh, impressive stuff. He pats you on the shoulder. Should stay until Mina gets home. We can tell her together. Sure. The buzzer goes. Oh, that'll be her. Lem gets up and opens the door. Mina, a bundle of energy and life, rushes into the room. What? Lem picks her up. Mina, you won't believe what they brought us. You flash her the passes and she looks confused. We are going away after all, Meanie? He lifts her up above her head. On that big, beautiful ship? Mina screams and Lem laughs. He puts Mina down and she runs over to you and hugs your legs. I love you, Wobot. I love you too. And a while later when you leave, you don't even think to check for Castor by the door until it's too late. You stop and turn halfway down the walkway, but there's nothing there. Even that little white cube is gone. So you keep walking back through the low end, deep in thought, excited and scared, all at once. There's a crowd, but you spot Lem and Mina immediately as you enter the dock. They are waiting at the cordon, where cell security are checking the crew in to board the ship. Those that manage to get up to the hub are crowded near the entrance, but even they know their chance of getting on board has long gone. Lem spots you in the crowd. Yo, Sleeper! We're here! They're standing beside a bag which looks to carry all the possessions they have. It is small enough to be carried in one hand. You ready? Lem smiles nervously. Well, I guess so. He hefts the bag. I hope them let us take this on board. Got a whole life in here. You hand over your Celis ID film to Lem, keeping your own. He turns it back and forth in the light. Where'd your friend get this picture, Sleeper? Looks like my old Conway ID. Looking at a shimmering younger Lem stares out of the film, harder and clean cut. I spoke to the guard here. He nods to the white and green clad security officer. They'll be doing orientation and role assignment on board. Sounds like we're going to be working under the core crew, kind of like an intern. What do you think, meanie? Am I too old to be an intern? Following Lem's lead, you inspect your ID. As you lift the film up to the light, you see something strange, something that makes you flinch. The face printed in the film is one you recognize immediately. It is not you, at least it is not how you look now. You squint at this ghost, confused why you hadn't noticed earlier. There's a picture you remember being taken, a memory that you didn't know you had. You remember signing the forms, the walk to the sleeper tanks, the cold metal floor. You remember the SNRP employee who helped you in, her smile clean and surgical. You freeze in place thinking of you that still sleeps somewhere in an SNRP facility that won't wake until you are recovered and disposed of. And now you are leaving. Will they ever wake up? Sleeper. These guys want us to board. You stare at him without thinking, then notice the guard gesturing to both of you to come forward. You all kick off and float over to them, steadying yourselves on the guardrail. You hang back, letting Lem present his ID first. The guard slides it across a white machine, much like the one Cast printed them from. You reflectively rub the puncture mark on your hand. Even though there's no trace of it now, it seems that you're destined to be someone else's tool. Lem and Mina are waved through, the guard smiling at her excited face. Lem turns back to check you are coming. The guard beckons you over. You shake off your doubts and hand over your ID film. The guard barely looks at it as they pass it through the scanner and wave you through. A new life built from old things. You okay? Lem asks, concerned as you catch up with. You are so robot. Mina teases, grabbing at you with small hands. Just making sure. Lem nods and you realize how much harder it must have been for him to cross that threshold. Mina struggles in his arms, trying to get to you, and Lem relents, struggling with both the bag and his daughter. Mina tumbles through the microgravity and grabs onto your clothes for purchase, pulling herself into your arms. You all proceed up the walkway, the entrance to the docking bridge, yawning wide and above you. Are we a family, robot? Mina asks as you walk, taking you by surprise. You know what? I guess so. Mina smiles and presses her head against your chest, pleased by your answer. You keep moving up the docking bridge, then along thin glass-walled connectors, all the time Mina clutching onto you. The lack of gravity means you can't feel her weight, only the grip of her small hands on your clothes. You both stare wide-eyed at the vast hull of the sidereal horizon, and you try to think of this huge machine as a home. Later, when you settle into your bunk, after Mina has finished running back and forth between you and Lem with an endless and infectious excitement, you find yourself looking at your ID film once more. Somehow, since the last time you looked at it, the image seems to have changed. It is still a picture of old you, the person that signed up to have their consciousness copied and placed into the ownership of SNRP. But something else has crept into the image. An underlying sense of self-identification. This is also a picture of you, the you that survived the eye, that made friends here, that found a way out, that escaped against all odds. The others might never wake up. They might never live again, but so be it. They co-signed you to be a doomed life for their own gain. Their life is yours now. You will live it better than they ever could. You lie back on your bunk as the thrust of the side rail's vast engines kick in. This feeling, this rumble will be your constant companion for the next decades. It'll be there when you work, when you watch Mina grow, when you dream of the planet at the end of the journey. It'll stay with you when your body starts to fail, despite the best attempts of Lem and Mina, as the years stack up, and it exceeds its safe operating period by a decade. It'll be the thing that you wake up to in those rare moments of consciousness between which Mina will keep you in a frozen state in the hope of preserving you until your destination is. It will still be there when Mina wakes you, tears in her eyes, to tell you of Lem's inevitable death. And it will not relent, despite your desire for a moment of silence. It'll be the final thing you hear as Mina shuts down all but the most vital of your functions, and hopes beyond hope that you will make it your final destination, all the while doubting that for now, in this moment of departure, it is still a new sound, a new feeling, and because of this, it is filled with the promise of the future. And so you settle back on your bunk and close your eyes, and in a moment you're sleeping in a perfect, dreamless sleep, the most peaceful that you can ever remember. I got a little into that game. Guess voice acting and reading the entire story really gets you invested. Yeah, at first I was kind of like, I didn't know what to even think of the game. I know it's gonna be a bitch to fucking edit. I was like, every new game is a new challenge in editing. Cyberpunk, story-driven game. I know I'm gonna put in the thumbnail title of this video, man. It's like another Cyberpunk game that's better than Cyberpunk 2077.